Well, hello! Welcome to the third and final part of my review of my Norwegian Fjords cruise on P&O's Iona. Today, I'd like to concentrate on the ports that we visited. But before I do, if I can please invite you to subscribe, if you can hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon. That way then, when a new video hits, you'll know about it. Before I get onto the ports, I'd just like to talk a little bit about Norway. And first off, an apology to anybody who's a Norwegian speaker for the pronunciation I may come up with for the destinations. I've tried my best. The other thing to bear in mind with Norway is it's really expensive. If you're on a budget, just consider that it might be worth eating on the ship before you get off. But it is always nice to try some local food and drinks, but just bear in mind it is a little bit expensive. To give you an idea, a coffee you're probably talking around £4, for a beer, for a pint, about £9–10. I saw a burger and frites was 35 krona, which I think is about £27. So just bear that in mind. One of the good things is that on all the destinations that certainly we went to, the ship docked right in the middle of the city or the town or the village, and we could just get off, walk around a bit, and if we decided we wanted to get back on, then we could do that. You could get back on, have lunch, and then explore a bit more. Just something to bear in mind. The first port of call we went to was Stavanger, which is a really popular port. You see it a lot on a lot of itineraries. There was a couple of other cruise ships in when we were in. Oceana had a ship in, AIDA had a ship in. So it's good because you're right in the centre of the city. It's actually the fourth largest city in Norway, but don't let that put you off. It's not a big sprawling metropolis. It's a really lovely place. When you get off the cruise ship, there's some beautiful wooden houses that face you. Those were actually supposed to be knocked down just after the war, but there was a bit of a campaign, and thankfully they managed to stop them being knocked down because they're absolutely charming. People actually live in them though, so you do have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to be peering through people's living rooms, but they're great places to walk around. The only thing is, if you're struggling a little bit with mobility, it's probably not the easiest thing to get around. Haugesund, pronunciation, not sure, is not far from where the cruise ship will dock, and that's actually the most photographed street in Norway, so well worth a look. There's lots of nice boutiques and cafes and everything like that. Well worth a look, and as I say, a very short walk from the actual cruise ship itself. So in terms of tours, there are of course lots of options, things that you can do. The cruise ship will of course give you lots of itineraries, but there's things you can organise yourself as well. If you want the security and safety of booking through the ship, then great. If you want to book it yourself, you can. They're quite accessible places. There's a monument just outside the city called Swords in the Rock. Take you about sort of 30 minutes. If you pick up bus 29 from there, you'll be able to go and see that. There's not a lot else there though, so you're probably not going to want to dedicate too long to go and see that, but a nice photo opportunity. All the buses in Norway take cards. You can change money into krona. I don't even think they will take cash actually. I think it is purely card. I didn't change any local currency while I was there. Everything I just used my debit card, and the buses are fine for that, and the buses are very, very prompt. Rib rides, if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, they look fantastic. So the rib ride's £99 or €116, so you're out for about sort of 30 minutes ripping up and down the fjords. Fantastic. So if your thrill level's there, then absolutely amazing. You're going to get great views from there. That's something I would have liked to have done myself. If you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, what about a helicopter ride? About £233 or €270 or dollars. That's for about sort of 30–35 minutes, and that will actually take you up to Pulpit Rock and all across the fjords there, so you get some absolutely incredible views. If your budget can stretch to that, and if you like heights, absolutely that would be an amazing thing to do. There are opportunities to do helicopter rides elsewhere on this itinerary that we did as well, so that's something else you can consider, but I know Pulpit Rock is something that a lot of people would like to see. Next destination was Olden. This was my favourite destination of the whole trip. Absolutely beautiful. So we actually sailed into the fjord probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people got up to see that. My wife got up and stood on the balcony and watched us going in. It was still quite dark when we were going in. I sort of cast an eye out the window, but I didn't get up. I just had a quick look. But it's absolutely stunning. We had low-lying cloud and it was absolutely amazing. But Olden is a bit of a fairy tale place. It's absolutely beautiful. So once again, a bit like Stavanger, you're moored right in the middle of this small town. Birkstall Glacier is one of the most popular attractions in the area, so you have a couple of options. You can either go through the ship, which was charging £89 when we were on there, or you can just get the local bus and you can get your way up there yourself and then hire the troll cars when you get up there. Absolutely amazing, just a really lovely experience. What you have to bear in mind with the bus though, there's only a couple of buses a day. I think it goes at 10 AM and it comes back at 1 o'clock. Obviously you don't want to miss them. If you leave that safety and security, then you can of course book through the ship, but you're going to save yourself a lot of money booking it direct. The bus to take is number 115 and it cost about £7 each for adults, and I think it was about £5 for children. Then you can hire the troll cars the other end, which are around £45. So you really are going to make quite a big saving on what you'd pay through the ship. But again, it depends what your level of comfort is when it comes to booking your own trips. Only you can decide that. And if you go through the ship, you do get some free cake. Depends if that's worth it or not to you. Other options in Olden are the helicopter rides again. Once again, about £250. You can get a 40-minute helicopter ride. A lot of people do kayaking. That's also very popular. Or paddleboarding. That's really good. And there's also the sky lift there as well. Now, with the sky lift, you can book it direct yourself, or you can again go through the ship. That's very popular. We didn't do that. Cloud cover was awful. Nothing. We would have seen nothing. We spoke to a few people that had actually done it the day we did it, and there was literally nothing to see. So do check your weather forecast before you do that. But if the weather forecast is good, then that looks absolutely beautiful. You're going to get some incredible views. So Olden, absolutely amazing port. I would love to go back there again. The other thing when you're leaving Olden is the famous Olden Sail Away. So what does that mean? Well, just opposite the ship there's a cafe there, and the owners come out, and whenever the big ships sail away they wave the flags and the ship plays music, and all people come out the petrol stations and stuff. And there was a guy on the hill who put a sign up that he wanted us to switch our lights on, and people were waving their mobile phones, and it really is a great sail away. It's something to really remember that. So get yourself on the side of the ship, give them a wave, and it's a very memorable sail away. It's a lovely thing to do. Hellesylt. Now a lot of people will tell you that there's not a lot to do in Hellesylt. And while there isn't a great deal to do, it is still a very pretty place, and it's very close to the Fjord, which is got lots of things that you can do there. The actual town itself is split in two by a beautiful waterfall that just thunders through the town. It's got a very small population, so it must be quite a shock when all the big ships come in, and there must be, I think there's 700 people live in the town. Well, obviously 5,000 people coming off the ship. It's a huge influx. But it's still, again, a very, very pretty place. Lots of options to do over the Fjord. There's things like kayaking, rib rides again, helicopters, all that kind of thing. The same sort of thing that's available in the other destinations. And you can actually just get a ferry down there, which will give you an opportunity to see the Seven Sisters waterfall and the Suter. But do bear in mind that actually you will see that as you leave that area anyway. So what happened with us, the captain took the ship out and did a complete pirouette so we could see them all. So if you're taking a trip just to see those things, maybe you'll be happy just to see them from the cruise ship itself. I know a few people had paid to go on trips to see the Seven Sisters waterfall and then felt a little bit cheated because they got to see it anyway. So that's something to bear in mind. Or you may just like a nice leisurely boat trip down the fjords. Haugesund. Well, it's not my favourite port and certainly not the prettiest. It's still definitely worth getting off the ship. There's some really interesting independent shops and cafes and all that kind of thing. It's well worth a walk around. Now the ship is about sort of maybe a mile outside the town centre itself, so you can get off and just have a walk in, or there's a land train. There's a few different ways of getting into there. Worth having a little poke around, as I say, in the shops. There's a few museums there and a couple of churches and things like this. It may be that you'd want to do a trip a little bit further afield. I did speak to a few people who did some trips, and basically they were took around herring museums, which doesn't sound the sort of thing for me. But if fishing's your thing, that may be the place to go. But it is still a port well worth getting off. Get some nice pictures of the ship as well from there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick whistle-stop tour of the destinations that we visited on our fantastic cruise on P&O IONA. I certainly will be booking to go back to Norway again. It was amazing, and there's lots of things we could do. It would have been lovely to have gone out and done a rib ride and maybe done a helicopter. But of course, it depends on the budget and whether you've got older or younger people with you that's suitable for. We didn't do a great deal on that. We did do the bus up to Berkstall Glacier ourselves on the bus. Saved quite a lot of money doing that, so I'm really pleased, and that was such a real highlight of the trip. But the whole trip was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed it, then please do hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.